Hey guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I'm doing a flip through of the two wedding marriage planners from Walmart. So just so you know, I did find these at Walmart. They were located on an end cap in the party celebration wedding area in my Walmart. So if you're on the hunt for it, look there rather than in the planner section where your planner stuff is normally for Walmart. I actually went to the planner section in my Walmart and I was disappointed. It looked like a really big mess with planners everywhere, people digging through trying to find their planner for 2020. Then I just happened to walk past the party section. It was right where like the balloons and cards and obviously the wedding stuff was. And I was like, oh, maybe I should check in here. And again, like I just happened to miss it because I was walking down the aisle. Then at the end of the aisle, as I was just gonna leave disappointed, I ended up seeing a huge Happy Planner display on the it was kind of on the side, not on the end, but like on the side with these planners. It had these two planners plus the accessory pack. And so I picked up these two planners just to do a flip through of them. So that's where you find them if you're still looking for it. Okay, so just to start off with, I did a quick flip through just to kind of look, and I believe the insides are going to be exactly the same. And I'll flip through at least parts of it so you can see that. But these are the two covers that come with it. Let me peel up this one and this one. Now this one on this side, it says Our Love Story, and it has actually I think looks very similar to the very first matte cover that the Happy Planner released. This is a matte cover as well, so it's just a very nice, it doesn't have like the gloss on it, and it comes with rose gold rings. It is a classic size as well as this, and the inside cover looks like this. And in fact, the inside cover for both of these planners look the same because it's the same design on this one as well. Now this one comes with white discs, which apparently are a huge deal. I actually really love this. So I don't like this cover as much. So we'll see. But it does come with white discs and it says Our Wedding on there. And the reason I don't like this cover as much is because it says Our Wedding and I'm already married. Not worried about putting something about our wedding here, but this one with Our Love Story, that is doable. Now it says it's a wedding slash marriage planner, so I haven't actually seen that many flip throughs of it, so I'm not sure. I'm actually noticing marriage is spelled incorrectly here. Oh, you know what? Now that I'm looking at that, then that must not be. That just must be. Okay. It's just a wedding planner. Well, now it's going to serve less of a purpose for me. I was thinking I could go back and just do some like marriage related stuff, but that's just a translated a translated phrase in French, I'm assuming. Okay, well, it is what it is. So let's flip through these. All right, just had a moment right there. I did remove the pieces that put them together, right? And so again, I'm just gonna flip through parts of it. I'm not gonna flip through both of them at the same time, just because I do think they are the exact same on the inside. All right, and so it starts off with a year overview here. It has a nice divider here that says This Life is Wonderful, and it is an undated planner, but because it's an undated planner, they give you a sheet of stickers right here, but this is very different from some of the other undated planners that they released, because this one is going to be just like this monthly page, and in this year overview they have apparently just 12 pages of undated monthly spreads, which is actually really awesome. I wish they would do this as a pack or something like that. I know they do it, but it has like the tabs, and I don't necessarily need a tab for it. I mean, I could just put a bookmark, so I actually like this better where it's just one tab, and then I can just make my own tabs for everything else. So that's really awesome. So I do believe it is 12, right? And then this back page right here says notes, and then it says grateful for in this shaded box right here. Don't forget important dates and monthly goals. And that's the only page where we have this kind of currently page. So that's there. I'm also noticing it doesn't, did I just skip it? Oh no, I didn't, right? It is here. I did skip it. There's a hello page that says this planner, Happy Planner Wedding Edition belongs to, right? And it has the same notes page, the currently page here with the same headings. Okay. So that was the first section. And just to flip through this version of it, it does look, it is the same, all right? It is the same, right? Same color and everything. Okay, so for this one then, it says, a true love story never ends. And this tab says wedding events. So on this back side, it has wedding events at a glance, engagement party, bridal shower, bachelorette party, bachelor party, ceremony rehearsal, rehearsal dinner, ceremony, reception, and then it has date, time, and place for each of those areas. And then on this, the actual paper in here, it has engagement party with the date and location, and then just a space for you to kind of list out some of the details of it. So right here, it's planning, venue notes, hosts, food and beverages, decor, outfit, the guest list, a photo of the event, favorite memory from the event, and then the back of it is just dot grid, right? And I'm going to compare it here. So that first one was engagement party. The next one is bridal shower. And this one is a little bit different. So it has planning and the point person, the guest list, but then it has this section that's gift tracker. So it's a little bit different than the engagement party list. Okay, and then the next one is bachelorette party, right? So date and location, planning, guest list, 2 photos, and then favorite memory from the night. The bachelor party, which is the 4th one here, same thing as the bachelorette party. Ceremony rehearsal, date, location, guest list, to do, order of ceremony, and then don't forget. So these pages are a little bit different just depending on the context that it occurs in. The next one is rehearsal dinner. So again, planning, point person, venue notes, guest list, the menu, order of events for that evening. And then there's a little tip here that says this is a perfect time to communicate your thanks to all who have helped with the big event. And this is where you might consider passing out your attendant gifts. Okay, then that was rehearsal dinner, and I'm actually not seeing anything for ceremony and reception. I'm assuming that's going to be later on. So then what you end up having after that section is just some blank pages. Well, not blank pages. They're this template, but it's not labeled with anything in particular. So you might, for example, have 2 bachelorette parties or a couple shower or something other thing that's related to your wedding. And so you have this extra space for that. And you can fill in any other big events that you have coming up to your day. And there are 5, 6 of those sheets. Okay, so that's that section. The third tab is vendors. Together is a beautiful place to be. And then on here, you have vendor contact list. And again, I'm just showing you that it does look the same in the other planner as well, right? And so this contact list is just a really handy guide for you to have of everything that you have going on with your reception, ceremony venues, caterer, the stationer, florist, your cake or your baker, musicians, dressmaker, officiant, wedding planner, videographer, photographer. So it's just a nice place to kind of note all the numbers and emails that you might need, right? And so going through this, I'm not going to read through everything, but this is just talking about the venue, which is these areas right here. And there are a lot of questions that you can kind of ask. And one of the things that's really helpful here is that you might have a couple of different places that you're considering, and so you're able to kind of do a comparison across several different venues for what you might be looking for, right? So that is good. Then next is caterer, and again, lots of questions related to that, and again, same kind of deal where you might have 3 different options for a caterer, and you can kind of make note of some of these questions. These questions, again, I'm not reading all of it, but it might be very helpful to you. So things, for example, with the caterer, do the caterers provide bartenders? How much do they charge for alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages? So these are good questions as you're planning a wedding, just to have on hand, and you could just make note of yes or no, whether these things are things that the caterer provides, right? So you have the same thing and different types of questions for the cake baker, florist, stationer, and I'm comparing it with this list here, and so far it's in that order. Musicians, DJ. All right. And then it skips dressmaker and officiant. So then photography. All right. And then rings, which is not on here. So there are a couple that are missing. And so there you go. All right. So the rings, there's a place for some pictures, different options that you might be considering. And then again, just like in the previous section, there are some blank pages, not blank, but like pages with no headings. So you can kind of fill out your own information here. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of those the blank version of the vendors. And so that's there. So far as I'm flipping through this is a great wedding planner. This is, I think, going to be very helpful for any bride that's putting together or trying to put together that big day. This is so far very helpful, I think. All right. Next is inspiration. This is the 4th tab. It says love on here. And so the very first thing on the back of the divider is the color palette. So there are 3 places for like different options that you might have. So you might have a main color, an accent color, or 2 accent colors, right? So you might kind of lay out some of the colors here. And then this section I think is going to be a little bit more vision board like or Pinterest like. So if you're a Pinterest fan, you can kind of pin some things and then maybe print out some of these for your visual inspiration here. So here is a page for decor and ceremony, basically the decorations for the ceremony, then decorations for the reception, bridal fashions, so maybe some dresses that you might be interested in, just general fashion. I would think things like accessories, jewelry, headpieces, that kind of thing. There's inspiration for stationery, and again there's a little section for color combos that you might want to have there. Florals, again color combination plus a space for pictures. And then just like the other tabs, there are some inspiration pages that are not labeled specifically. So there's 2/4 pages with graph, and then 1, I would assume 2/4 with dot grid. Okay, and so that's there. The next section is budget. Oh, this is beautiful. I really love this. All right, so budget, right here, there's a wedding budget breakdown. This is actually really awesome. That's really awesome. That's very helpful to keep on track with like where your budget stands. Okay, so you can see here the biggest part of your budget is going to be the reception, right? That's probably true. Just thinking of like food and music and everything else that you might have going. Oh, well, there's a separate section for music, but definitely food for my wedding was the biggest chunk of my reception, that and the venue price and security. So that's there. Now the wedding budget, this side of it kind of breaks down like a place for you to write down your actual budget, what you think you're going to spend or want to spend, the estimate that comes from the vendor, and then the actual price that you spent on your wedding. And it breaks it down in a bunch of different places. So like planning in terms of like a wedding planner, a wedding website, if you use that, stationery, reception. And so again, like this is this chunk right here, but things like the venue rentals that you might have to have, food, beverages, cake, bartender, lighting, liability insurance or security, wedding favors and giveaways. That definitely was the hugest part for me, was trying to stay in budget for that. Then there's a section for the ceremony, important things that you might not consider, like the marriage license, the rehearsal fee that you might have to pay to your ceremony, your venue, the site fee itself, officiant fee, things like that. Oh, I also lists like confetti and post-ceremony exit favor. That's really good. I didn't even think of things like that, okay? Flowers and decor, and again, a list there. Attire for you and for the groom, right? And it goes to this next page. Then there's photography and videography, music, wedding ring, wedding rings, transportation, favors and gifts, and then just a list of miscellaneous. Now, that actually is great, and one of the things that I would probably just encourage you to do if you are a bride planning for your wedding is maybe putting either a folder or something here to kind of capture receipts, because you'll probably need to keep up with some of these receipts. You're not going to be able to sit down and kind of do the budgeting like on a regular basis, and especially with some of the estimates, it might kind of fluctuate depending on what you order and change your mind about. So you might want to just have a place like a folder or something like that where you can kind of, or several folders where you can keep some of your receipts and write in the actual prices once you confirm everything that you actually want. Okay, so that's there. I actually like that. I would put a folder. I would probably even put like some budget sheets in here just to have something that might be a little less like official, right? It's just something for me to sketch down some of my things that I've purchased across time. And then I can total it up later for the official prices here. All right, this next one is checklist. It says choose happy. That's really cute. This looks like, I'm trying to think, I think there's a cover that looks very similar to that. But anyway, it says choose happy in this checklist. So these checklists, again, are very helpful for wedding planning. This checklist starts with about a year out, all right, and to be completed by, and then just some things that you should do about a year before your wedding. And then here's a checklist for the 9 to 12 months before your wedding, things that you should have 6 to 9 months before, 3 to 6 months before, 2 months before, 1 month before, 2 weeks before, a week before, the day before, and then the wedding day. All right, and so that's, I think, actually really, really awesome. It also has here an emergency kit. This is, I think, really, really good. One of the things that I didn't have for my wedding was a mini sewing kit, and that would have been really helpful. And I actually had a list very similar to this. I packed it, and it ended up getting left at home, right? So make sure that you put a note here to bring your emergency kit to your reception, because it won't do you any good at your house. So that's there. And it's some things that you might not think about, especially the sewing kit. That was really important for me, just because of the way my dress was hemmed. But I'll flip back and just talk about some of the things that are on this list. This is, I would assume, very similar to other checklists that you see, but things that, like, let's just say a month out, things that you should consider doing is drafting your seating chart, making sure that you meet with your officiant to finalize any details, photo shoot list to your photographer, things that you definitely want your photographer to take photos of, and like how you want the shots to look on your wedding day. Making sure that you prepare these emergency kits. Make sure, oh my gosh, this is a really big one. Break in your wedding shoes, like walk in them for a while so that way you can see if they're comfortable or not. That's actually a really good one. And so again, I'm not going to read all of it, but this is a very good list just in the skim that I see here, right? Nail appointments the day before. Make sure that you go to your rehearsal and rehearsal dinner. That's that's good, right? Give the guest list to the ushers so they can seat everyone. Make sure that you have all of your tipping envelopes just to make sure that you are able to pay everyone on the day of, and that you're not like running around trying to find cash for that. That's very good. All right, I love this list. These lists. This is actually very good. Okay, so we already talked about the emergency list, and then here we have a section that's basically weekly to-do list, and it is undated, so you can see here that it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a small section for notes, and you get 2, 4, 6 sheets of that. Now that's helpful if you're just doing like something a month out, but if you're planning this wedding out far in advance and you're constantly doing things on a weekly basis, you might need more of these sheets. But I think that this will be very helpful just as a general guide, especially if you're just tracking things that might be outside of the checklist that you already have. Okay, so that's there. This next section is wedding party. Okay, and here is, of course, the information that you have for your bridesmaids, groomsmen, flower girl, ring bearer, ushers, parents of the bride, parents of the groom, and then any other people that you might have in the wedding party. I did list my officiant on my wedding program, so that might be something that you want to add here. Grandparents, those are people that you might list in this section. And it's very good to go ahead and make sure that you check their name, and make sure that it's spelled correctly. So that's a good space to kind of do all of this stuff. This next section included in the wedding party talks about the bridesmaid fashion and groomsmen fashion, and just making sure that you have information about measurements, and what style you want them to wear, what color, the designer that you want them to choose, if there's a specific store that you want them to buy the dress from, right, and so on and so forth, right? So that's all there. Again, the same thing for flower girl and ring bearer, and then there are notes here for your wedding party to make sure that they have a particular hairstyle, particular makeup style. I was going to say something else, but like makeup style. Make sure that you have something for nails. This is good for you to maybe fill out and then just make copies for your wedding party, so that way they know what you're looking for. And then a place for you to kind of write out the gifts that you're considering for your wedding party. So that is there. That's actually really nice. I really like that. Right. Next section is guests. Right, and it's been a little while, so I'm just going to double check that it's the same here in this other planner. And I think it's exactly the same, right? And it does look exactly the same. All right, so this is really nice. This is a guide to invitations and other printed materials, right? So what do you do for, like, what kind of format, or like what do you need in terms of like putting together your invitation package. It's really not just the one invitation, right? So you send save the dates separately, but then with your official invitation you might have a reception card that might be separate from the ceremony, right? You might have a different location. You might have an RSVP card and a card with additional information. So this is the invitation package rich or the sweet, as it says here, right? Then you might have some printed programs, the menu, escort cards, place cards, thank you cards. So there's just some information for what those are and like how you use them, and then some things about addressing invitations and the printed materials that you have. Then here is a little flow chart for the guest list. So this is actually really nice. I really like that. So we can walk through like a yes or no flow chart of like, should you invite or not invite someone, right? 2 pages or probably more of like a draft list of the guests that you are considering inviting. There are 3 pages here. And then here's the master guest list of the people that are actually receiving invitations. You do need to walk through and make sure that you get their addresses, their name. Again, I try to make sure that I'm spelling their name correctly. So correct spelling of name, correct address with the zip code. And then here's a spot for you to, as you start receiving RSVPs, you could just make a note of whether they RSVP yes or no. And this will be helpful to you because once you get a certain number of no's, you can invite a couple more people. So that is helpful, right? And so you get lots of pages of that. All right, and then here we have a gift record. This will be after the fact, where you can kind of, or maybe even before if you have some guests who don't come but like send you gifts through the mail. But you can write a list of where your gift came from, who you received the gift from, what the gift was, and then did you send their thank you card. Again, that's really nice. I probably would not have put this with guests. I probably would have put this as like something you needed to take care of like after the wedding, maybe even after the honeymoon. A lot of people don't expect their gifts to be, their thank you card for their gifts to be mailed like immediately. So this could be something that's handled like even after the honeymoon. So I probably would have moved that. And in fact, you know, if I went back and just like started organizing it, this would be moved to somewhere else. I just think it makes more sense chronologically to be after everything else, right? So this next one is the actual wedding day. We finally made it to wedding day, right? So here's our wedding. And so you have a couple of pages. This looks very similar to like the daily task list, like the monthly layout. So we have in preparation for, and it has the top priority section and the check it off section and a note to self. This is again very similar to the monthly layout. They just move some of the pieces around a little bit. This normally is like down here. This one is kind of like right here, right? But very similar to the monthly layout. And we get several kind of, there's actually, I've counted so far, I didn't count it all. So that was six, and then a back page here. And as I was looking through that, that was not at all what I was expecting for this section. So I was thinking it was going to be more like oh, it says our wedding, and then here's wedding day. Okay, so this is just task lists. And I almost would want to move like the task lists that were in the checklist section to this section. But maybe it's a little bit redundant. I'm not quite sure. I would need both of that. So then here is wedding day. Okay, this is the official wedding day. Okay, so here in this section, we have a wedding day timeline, like what time you kind of ideally want everything to start. Or maybe if you don't really know, you might want to go back and just make a memory and create a timeline of the fact after the fact, right? So the time, the activity, who's doing it, and the location of it. And then here for the ceremony, we have the same kind of breakdown. This is very helpful because it gives you a list of like when things, or sorry, not when, but like what things generally do occur in a ceremony, right? So that's there. The same thing for the reception. Again, like some common things that occur in wedding receptions. And then wedding day reminders. Oh, this is really important. Like I would want to like take this out and frame it or something, right? Don't forget your marriage license. You will need that. The officiant will need to sign that. So make sure you have that. And all of this is here. So here's the tips formulas. So this is very helpful, like what you might want to consider tipping all of your vendors. Practice saying your vows out loud. That's really good. Make sure you wear a button-down shirt for your hair and makeup, so that way you can take it off and you don't have to pull it over your hair. And there we go. Seating chart, worksheet. Again, I probably would not want this in this section. It makes more sense in the guests section, especially like right where we're talking about like the guest list. So that's there. Menu, or maybe it makes sense here. I don't really know, right? In my mind, I feel like could be a little bit earlier. I would want to plan some of that a little bit earlier, not day of. Right, so delegation of tasks here is like who should do certain things. For example, like cleaning up and tearing down the ceremony location, making sure that the reception venue is set up and decorated, and who will break down, that kind of thing. So that's really nice. And then here, honeymoon. Okay, now that all that stuff is done, let's talk about the honeymoon, right? All right, here's honeymoon planning, different places that you're considering. So again, they go with like this 3-option thing. Okay, so make sure you narrow it down just to 3, right? And start putting down like the contact information, activities that you could do there, transportation, just notes that you might have, and then your budget, very similar to some of the other sections. Your budget, the estimate that you receive, and then the actual cost that you spend. Honeymoon packing list, the honeymoon itinerary. Right, mine was lounge around, and I didn't need 12 days. Like, my honeymoon was not that long. Right, this one is a notes section. It says love, cherish, and honor with these florals. They were on a different, which one was it? This one. Very similar. So pretty. I love that. Right, this is a notes section, and I'm assuming it's just notes, right? So the best day. I'm thinking this kind of looks more like you could journal or do a little bit of memory keeping here. So where the rest of the planner is like very much planner and like task oriented, here is where you just might want to come through and put some photos and talk about like how awesome your wedding was, that kind of thing, right? And you get 4, 6, 8 sheets of that, so 8, 16, right? And that is that. Now, if you had or saw the previous wedding extension pack, you will notice that it is a little bit different. I feel like this one is a lot more comprehensive, and I don't know, maybe that's just me. And it's prettier. That's the big thing for me, is like I think it's just really, really pretty, right? And so I found these at Walmart again, and they do have 2 covers and 2 different sets of rings, but it is the same on the inside. This one on the front cover is our love story, and this one is our wedding. And it is just a wedding one, not marriage, which is what I was thinking it was, and it would have worked for me. I'll probably not be able to use these because I am already married. But these are the 2 covers here. They are both matte, and the insides of the covers are exactly the same. The guts are the same, and that's pretty much it. The back cover for this one is just like the front, minus the actual design. And the back of this one are florals. That's actually really pretty. I love that. All right, and so that is all. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can find it if you are looking for them through Walmart. So these are the 2 planners, the 2 wedding undated planners from Walmart, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other things that the Happy Planner is releasing. So until the next video, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and look forward to some more videos in the future. Bye.